Oh, what I was going to say that I was like, oh, I'll wait till we're recording. Steve and I have been playing, Magic the Gathering a lot lately.
yeah.
And we got some new decks in, and I took a picture of the one vampire deck I got, but I have another one that I'm more excited to play with. So I got 2 vampire decks, and Steven got a pirate deck. And I was like, how fitting for
I love
the
it.
podcast. Pirates and vampires.
How millennial are the 3 of us right now with our side parts?
I mean, I can do a middle part, but
No, you don't have to. I just thought it was funny.
I mean, we're a product of our upbringing, okay?
I've seen people like our age do middle parts, and I'm just like, I mean, I feel like it's okay on them, but like I've tried that, and I hated that.
Well, the best part to me is that it's like this big thing that, or make fun of if you have a side part, but like having a middle part, like got you made fun of when we were, younger.
Oh, are you going to do your little intro each time, or do you just have it recorded?
I have it recorded. I can do it. Hold on, let me open up one that I wrote it on. Even though I practiced it so many times leading up to the first episode, you have no idea. Like on the drive to work, on the drive home from work. Hello, y'all. This is the Book Talk Babes podcast, where we will be discussing different book-related topics and occasionally specific books. This episode may contain spoilers, so please check the episode description for a list of books that were spoiled. My name is Ashley, and today I am joined by my 2 lovely friends, Elaine.
Hello.
And Liana.
Hi.
But yeah, I practiced that so many times so I wouldn't have to read it, and I still have to read it off every fucking time. I'd be driving in the car saying it no problem, and then like the second the camera and the mic are here, and I'm like, what? Thank you, returning listeners. We appreciate you. Welcome, new ones. When we release this, it'll be on my sister's birthday. So happy birthday, Samantha.
Happy birthday.
I think she's going to be like 27.
What?
Wow.
I know.
What has happened?
It's weird.
Yeah, my sister turned 29.
Holy we are so fucking old.
Right? I was when we were out and about celebrating, and I was just like, "Oh no, Jessica, you're 29." I was like, "No."
No. Can you believe my sister is 30?
Oh my goodness, right?
Her name's Marissa. I call her Issa, but only I can call her that.
It's crazy.
I never think about age like all that much or being important. Like for me, when I turned 30, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm 30.
Yeah.
But like when someone else gets closer to 30, I'm like, oh my God, you're almost 30.
Yeah.
Like that you're getting older, that means I'm getting older.
I know. My little sister, who is married and has a husband and a dog and a house and is 30. I'm like, you're more adult than I am. How'd you get it together?
Everyone grows at their own pace, okay?
Yeah. I get to live in Fort Worth. Yay.
It could be worse.
I love that for me.
All right, so this week, even though it's the end of January, we're going to do a recap of our favorite reads from 2023. I personally don't think there's ever a time limit on when to discuss your favorite books that you've ever read, so the fact that we're doing this like at the end of January doesn't bother me at all.
Well, we needed the week for you and Elaine to get your list together because you two are overachievers.
This is true. Elaine you hit 100, right?
Yes, I did hit my 100 goal.
Fuck yeah.
And how many did you get, Ashley? 75?
No. I think I ended at 94.
Oh my God. And I'm coming in a strong third with 37. So
that's fine.
My list did not take that long.
Also, you have to consider like the different situations and scenarios that we're all in. Read whatever you want, and I think everything should count. So I
True.
know like you've read some graphic novels, Elaine.
Yes, it's true.
Which do typically go by faster. I'm going to have some on this year because I really, really, really want to read the Sons of Ares graphic novel, The Last Ronin, and then there are some webtoons ones that I've started. I'm going to have that. And then I listen to a crap ton of audiobooks
Mm-hmm.
because I just sit for hours at work and I can listen to them. But yeah, I hit 94.
You're so lucky. I wish I could read like at my job.
Honestly, that is literally the biggest thing at this moment in time that is keeping me at my job. Is the fact that I can listen to audiobooks all day.
That speaks really well of your job.
Well, yeah, we've been having some issues for a while. If they came in on Monday and was like, no more headphones, I would be looking for a new job immediately. Like,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be doing this like consolidation stuff either at the end of this year or the end of next year where they're going to consolidate like labs and whatnot. And I swear to God. So like if this new facility, whoever's in charge of it is like, oh, no headphones, I'd be like, oh, bye. Like, find someone else. I ain't coming.
It's like I'm putting in my 2 weeks right now.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll go work at HEB. I don't give a shit. I will go finally work in a bookstore.
Yeah, go work with Elaine.
Yes.
Right.
It's so much fun.
I would love to work with books. I just hate the shitty customer aspect of it.
There is that.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've had to like deal with people being customer service.
Oh yeah. I will say compared to other jobs I've had, this one is pretty chill. Working in a bookstore. It's a lot chiller.
And I will also add that you never lose that customer service voice because I worked at a Christmas store over December, and I have not I have not had a customer facing job in a few years now, but it was like on and be like, hi, how are you, how can I help you, oh, I can get that for you, oh, that's no problem. Yeah.
Yep. Nope,
the trauma of working the trauma of working in healthcare is really prepared me. So thank you, PTSD, for giving me the ability to deal with people.
Alrighty. How do we want to do this?
I'll start because mine's the shortest.
Okay, so we're doing our whole list?
Yeah. Okay. So since I came in at a lovely 37, I picked 7 of those 37. These are in no particular order. Looking at trends from 2023, I read a lot of series. I usually like one-off books, but I found some really good series that have really like pulled me in, and so I make a point to keep track of those. I think since it's like the year of Bridgerton, I have to put on here When He Was Wicked, which was Francesca's story. And oh my god, I think it's my favorite one.
Which one's Francesca?
She has not had a Netflix story yet, but they released a picture of Francesca for the upcoming season. When we get to Francesca's book, at this point, because I read them out of order, I think at this point, Daphne, Anthony, Colin, and maybe actually no, I don't think Colin, Benedict. They all have their people.
Okay.
And so the premise behind Francesca's is she got married and she's been married to her husband happily for like the past 2 or 3 years. And in that time, she's also gotten very close to her husband's cousin, Michael. And of course, it being Bridgerton, her husband, John, he's like the Earl of Kilmartin or something. They're Scottish.
Okay.
And she and her husband are very much in love throughout this time. You know, they're having a good time, the 3 of them. And then her husband dies very suddenly. I believe like in current times it would be like a brain aneurysm because he complains of a headache, he goes to lay down and he doesn't wake up.
Shit.
I
Aw.
know. So she's dealing with the grief of losing her husband, and then she finds out she's pregnant, but then she miscarries. And also Michael, their friend slash cousin, he cannot deal with the grief. He cannot deal with Francesca, and he's actually been in love with her this whole time, and he can't deal with
Of
that
course.
either. And so he leaves for like 7 years. He goes to India for like 7 years. And so that's the first part of the book. And then the second part of the book is
Okay.
he returns. He's now the Earl of Kilmartin, and Francesca's still the widow of Kilmartin, but then it kind of becomes like a friends to lovers situation.
Okay.
And it gets
like that.
really good, y'all.
Okay.
It gets good. I will say there's a particular scene during a thunderstorm in a small cottage by the fire that is my favorite part.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes. At one point in the book, he basically says, and I'm summarizing, and I'm not, this isn't a spoiler because these books have been out forever. He basically says, I'm going to fuck you into marrying me.
Oh.
All right. I'm
Okay.
down.
I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he says.
Okay.
And I'm like, yes, please. But no, I think that one's my favorite of the ones that I've read. I like that it's also not one of the we've been caught in a scandalous position, now we have to get married, which is what a lot of other books of hers are a thing. It is a choice that is made. It is not forced, which I like.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're into the Regency, if you love Bridgerton, I recommend that one. What else? Oh, Autumn of the Grimoire by J.L. Vampa. This one was like a random one that I stumbled across. It's part of a series called The Sister Solstice, and of course, it's what it sounds like. There's 4 sisters, and their sister winter, spring, summer, and fall. And this one, Autumn of the Grimoire, is about Sister Autumn. Her name is Agatha. She's like this voluptuous redhead who lives in a cottage in the woods, and she has a bat who's her familiar, and it's super cute. And
sorry, I love
always,
bats. I'm already sold.
I know. His name is Mabon, and it's so cute.
Oh.
And he like sleeps on her like as a little pet. I know, it's so cute. And the place where she lives, it's always fall weather, and she has a bunch of pumpkins, and there's always pumpkin bread and fire going, and it's wonderful.
I'm sorry. I think I just found out who I want to be reincarnated as.
All 4 sisters are given orders by a grimoire, and then they have to go on like a certain task that has to be completed when they're ordered to. So she gets ordered to go to this kingdom by the sea, and she's told she has to marry the prince of that kingdom, and the prince is like a total dick. His name is Thackeray, which is gross. He goes by Grim, which is a nickname.
Okay, I like
which
that.
is
I like
much
that.
more appropriate. He's like tall, dark, and handsome. He has black curly hair and a beard. And, they do get married. It's kind of like a enemies to lovers thing. And then they find out that there's some kind of intrigue going on in the palace. And they become allies in trying to figure out the intrigue that's going down.
Wait, does the bat get to go with her?
Yeah, the bat gets to go with her.
Okay, just making sure the bat doesn't get left behind.
Yes. He's her familiar, so he has to stay with her.
Yeah.
I know, but I didn't know if they'd have some crazy sort of like sad separation thing. Okay.
What's next? Oh, the Nevermore bookstore, and I've told you guys about this and how much I love it.
I told my book club about it.
What'd they say?
People were interested. It didn't get picked as the next month's read, but
rude. I'm offended. It's so good.
There was a lot of choices, but a few people were like, I'm adding that to my TBR because I'm reading that regardless.
So this is a first in like a 4, soon to be 5-part series. It's set in this small town in Washington on the coast,
Okay.
and it kind of makes me think of like Gilmore Girls if they put it in Washington. It's just like very cozy, very cute. The female lead, her name is Katie, and the running theme throughout this whole series, it's like it focuses on people with disability or people who are neurodivergent.
Okay.
Katie, she has a spine disorder or a joint disorder that makes her back seize up, and it causes like chronic pain. And she owns a bookstore.
Okay.
And once a week, this man calls with like the sexiest voice she's ever heard, and he places an order for some books. And like up until this point, he's just like talked to her to place orders, but soon they start talking, and so like it turns into like a friendship over the phone. But she doesn't know that this man is actually like a guy who lives in the woods. No, I'm serious. He lives in the woods, like in a tent, not even in a cabin, in a tent. He lives outside.
Wait, what?
She doesn't know that though, but she only sends his books to a PO box. She never sends them to like a physical address. So he picks them up at a PO box. So one night when they're on the phone, her bookstore is broken into, and he feels terrible because he's like, I wasn't there to protect her. And so unbeknownst to her, he shows up in the town and starts working at the bookstore, and she doesn't know it's him. And so he's there to like help
Okay.
her out with the bookstore, help her out with some town drama, and then there's this whole like mystery afoot about who's trying to like hurt her. Then I have You Again by Kate Goldbeck. It's When Harry Met Sally trope.
Okay.
These two people meet because they're sleeping with the same woman. The female main character, her name is Ari, I think.
Okay.
And the guy is named, I'll just call him Jay. He's dating her roommate, but she's sleeping with her roommate. And like the book starts with him coming over to cook for her roommate, and she doesn't have a bra on when he comes in, and she just sent off a gentleman caller, and they're talking about the
Okay.
woman that they're sleeping with. And you think that's all you're going to see of them, but then they meet each other again throughout the years, and then the book comes up to present day, and it's like a year of them like acknowledging that they're attracted to each other, but they just come out of really bad breakups, and so they decide to just like commiserate and be friends instead. But of course, we know that's not how it's going to go. We know some stuff is going to go down. Slow burn. You know me and my slow burns.
Yes, yes. You and your slow burns.
I know. I'm a sucker for that shit. Next one, Fate Calls the Elf Queen by J.M. Curl. I also stumbled upon this series accidentally because I was looking for like high fantasy with more of a plot. My brain kind of rotted a bit on some smut that I was reading, and I was like, I need something that's interesting and has a plot. The premise is there are elves. It kind of gives me like Lord of the Rings vibes, but the elves do not have magic, and there hasn't been magic for a very long time. And then the young prince, he is born with magic, and then Maid in the castle, she has a daughter, and the daughter is born with magic. And so the king decides that he's going to put a spell on them that they will be mated and save magic. Well, the mom doesn't like that, so she attempts to flee, but she dies in the process. But the mom's friend takes the baby away, and so they go to live in a village. In the meantime, they both grow up, and then the girl, her name is Layala, she gets abducted by the prince, thinking that he's evil, he's horrible, and all elves are bad because she grew up in a human village. And then she finds out that they have to get married and consummate the marriage by 25, or else they both die per the spell. So it's an enemies to lovers thing. And the longer that she's there with him and his friends in the castle, the more they start to fall for each other. But there's also this background plot. Oh, there's like elf zombies, a dangerous portal to hell, and then there's dragons and dragon shifters, and it becomes this whole thing, and it just gets so like complicated, but in a way you can follow. And then there's like some mythology thrown into it, like Greek mythology. It's It's a ride, y'all. It is a ride.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
And it's like the villain gets the girl kind of thing. It's where the villain is like, I'm gonna burn the world for you kind of thing. And honestly, that was like the most romantic thing you can say to me. Like, screw everyone else.
Yeah.
And then finally, The Dueling Duchess by Minerva Spencer. Minerva Spencer, she's been writing like historical Regency romance for a while. This was the second in a trilogy, and it's basically these revolves around these three women who work in a circus, and circumstances beyond their control have them adventuring with three very rich, very noble men, like a duke and an earl and an accountant. I don't know. He works for the government, but he has money. He doesn't have a title, but he has money. And so it's these three women and these men, and they go on a little adventure together. But the Dueling Duchess is the second one. And I like this one because the woman is older. She's 36, so she's lived some life, and the guy pursuing her is actually a bit younger than she is. I think he's like 30 or something, or 32. And in the first book, they get together. They're not the main part of the story, but it's a side story. They get together, and then he pisses her off by offering her a carte blanche, which is basically like, I'm going to get married, but you can be my mistress. And she doesn't like that.
Yeah.
I don't blame her.
Right.
And he's like, but you'll be set for life. I'll put you up in a house. I'll buy you things, but we can still like keep this arrangement. And she was like, no, fuck you. That's a horrible thing. I don't want to do that. Oh, also she's French, which is wonderful. Her name is Camille. She's a sharpshooter in the circus.
That's cool.
So she's very good with guns.
That's really cool.
And so in their book, she becomes the manager of the circus, and he loses all his money, to no fault of his own. It's just some bad financing. And then a cousin comes and claims to be the heir of the estate, and the cousin kicks him out with nothing. So he like goes crawling to her at the circus and being like, "Can I work here?" And pretty much the whole, like 75% of the book, maybe like 60%, is him trying to build this relationship with her again, and she is trying to make him regret ever meeting her.
All right.
Like, she makes him clear out chamber pots. She makes him do laundry. She makes him clean out the stables. She, like, just dirtiest, nastiest jobs, the most tiring jobs. Oh, and she makes him be in her act and a knife throwing act, and he has to
Ooh.
stand there and get shot at or get knives thrown at him as like his punishment.
Okay.
And at one point, she wears a blindfold and she shoots at him, and he freaks out. And then she tells him like, "Well, if you didn't move, I won't miss."
Yeah.
But no, it's there's a lot of groveling on his part, which is so good. And there's a lot of like her being like very firm in her boundaries. It's great. So yeah, that's what I have for my favorite books.
Okay. Do you want to do mine?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So it's kind of in order of when I read them.
Same.
So the first book I have is like a Christmas holiday book that I like got from the library. But I was hoping I would get it by like December, but I ended up getting it in like January. But it's called Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochrun. Cochrun. This is like a sapphic romance, and it gives off very like, The Proposal with Sandra Bullock.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very like
Mm-hmm.
The Proposal vibes. Like
Okay.
there is like a grandma and I think she's like nanny or something. And I just kept picturing Betty White the entire time of this. And in the book, they also say, because it's like a love trapezoid, is what they call it.
Okay.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's like super cute. So if you like the proposal, you would probably like that.
Look at that geometry I took in high school finally coming through for me. I know what a trapezoid is.
So if it's a trapezoid, are they all sleeping with each other?
No, it's like weird. So what happens
Oh.
is like the main character meets a girl at a bookstore one Christmas,
Uh-huh.
and they had like a really good time, and then they don't talk to each other after that, right? So she's still like is like, oh my gosh, that was like one of the best nights ever, and she still thinks about it to this day. And then the guy that like owns the coffee shop she works at, I think they end up doing like a fake dating thing. And so he's like, come to
Mm.
my family's like Christmas event. She goes over, and it turns out that the girl that she had a one night stand with ends up being his sister. So then they're like
Ooh.
reunited, but then like also they have like a best friend that is like family that the guy that she's fake dating had a relationship in the past too.
Oh,
And so
okay.
Oh, okay. I see. I
yeah.
gotcha.
Okay.
This sounds good.
Yeah, it's like it's super cute. It's really good. I loved it. So it's a really good like first romance book of the year.
Yeah.
My other one is a graphic novel. So I read the first 5 volumes. I like reread them, I think, because I read the 5th volume this year. But it's called Fence, and it's about fencing.
Okay.
It's really cool. It's really cute. There's queer
I've heard of
representation
it.
in it. Yeah, and volume 6 comes out, I think, next Tuesday. So
Okay. I
I'm
was like, I
super
feel like
excited.
you mentioned being excited about that coming soon.
Yes, it's so exciting. Um, I don't know. There's like potential, possible like rivals to lovers,
Oh,
roommates to
that's
lovers kind of vibe, but I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super cute.
so. One of the authors, I guess, Joanna the Mad. I follow her on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, and I followed her because she does a lot of like queer Harry Potter fan art.
Oh, really?
It's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah. The next one is a web comic that I've read, called New Recruit. There's also a K drama of it called New Employee.
Ooh.
It is like it's a completed web comic that you can read on Manta Comics, and it's like a workplace romance. It's what you call like a
Okay.
Yao or BL or manhwa, I think is what you say.
Okay.
Um, it's very NSFW, but
We love. We love.
it's like yeah, it's super spacey and super cute. I loved
One thing that everyone's going to learn about Elaine is that
it.
there is some stuff simmering under that quiet exterior.
You know.
I have said this my entire life. It's the quiet ones you have to watch out for. Because I'm a pretty loud person, but I'm also usually the shy, quiet person. So
No.
until you get to know me, then you can't shut me up.
Yeah. Okay. And then my next one is it is Initiation. It's the Sex Wizards.
Ooh, yes, I bought that.
Yeah.
Or I got it because you said it was free.
Yeah, it's like it's free actually. By Alethea Faust. Very queer representation. And it's like it's very sex positive for a like story that is about wizards, and their spells are very like sex based with like kinks and stuff. A lot of people call it like a very an adult Harry Potter. Speaking of Harry Potter, there's an honorable mention book that I'm gonna put called Anyway the Wind Blows. It's a YA, and it's a very Harry and Draco like fan fiction-ish book
Okay.
by Rainbow Rowell. Another book is Invoking the Blood, so I have read it and I loved it.
Yay!
Yes, people with like no magic are kind of looked down upon, so it's very interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's really cool.
I'm enjoying it so far.
Y'all are about to make me stay up all night.
Yes, he's a shadow prince.
Wait, like Shadow Daddy? Like he's got shadow powers?
Yeah, he's a shadow and
Yeah.
potentially can bring that shadow out to help play.
I am not gonna get any sleep tonight.
Remember, Elaine told us about this.
Yeah, remember?
I vaguely remember that now.
Yes.
Dear God, I just keep thinking about my dad listening to this. Sorry, Dad.
Hi, Papa.
The next one is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming. So that one's a very nice, cozy, like short read. Like it's under 200 pages. So it's very quick. It's like fantasy, enemies to lovers. I feel like the characters like super funny and they're like banter with each other is really cool. It's really funny too. The next one is probably one of my favorite reads, I think, ever. It's a sci-fi classic that I got to read this year for the book club at the library.
Okay.
And it's called The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. Again, it's very queer representative. It's like about a world where they're androgynous, and like this guy comes and is just baffled by them, you know, like it's so good. I don't know.
You can say he's from Texas. It's okay.
Yeah, he's from another world, and he's like comes to their world to try to like make a connect, like I don't know, have like some sort of like trading between the different worlds or the different like planets. But no, it's really cool. They go on like it is a world where it's cold. And they go on like a journey together, but it's super cute. I don't know. I really liked it. To the point where like we got in a very fancy folio society version of the book at work.
Ooh.
That was really pricey, and I bought it. And it comes with like a slipcase. The illustrations are really pretty. I was like, I'm gonna get this. The next one are like 2 books. So it's a YA book. It's Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, which is book 1, which was turned into a movie in 2023.
Okay.
And fun fact, so the movie, the actor who plays Aristotle is from Austin.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and what's cool too is like my friend who works at the library, she went to high school with his sister, so she like knew him.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. And the both times I went to go see that movie in theaters.
So you know him.
I met him. I actually got to meet him. He was at the theaters when I went to go see it.
Oh, that's so
cool. Both times with his family. So I got to meet his family as well. They're all like super, super nice. He's really cool.
Aww.
So it was really cool. It was a really cool experience. I highly suggest to go watch it. It's another like why romance. It's like a boy love. They kind of discover like, you know, each other and how they potentially could like have feelings for each other. I think it's a little bit of historical fiction. The second book is Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World. And that one is also really good. So that one, the second book of that one, the Dive into the Waters of the World, and the next 2 books I'm going to talk about were the 3 books that made me cry this year.
No.
Oh, I wonder if one of them is one of the ones on my list.
So the next one is The Dead Romantics.
Yes.
That one made me cry.
Oh, same.
Yes. And I don't even know how to explain it.
I know, without giving anything away.
Yeah, without giving anything away, I don't know how to like explain it, but just it was so good. It made me cry.
Yes.
The next book was one of the last books I read this year, which is You and I Rewritten by Chip Pons. That one is a boy romance. And this one, it totally took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to cry. Like, it was so weird. I was like trying to finish it before midnight so I could count it for my 2023. So I like started the year with just like crying. It was so funny. It's like a great way to start 2024. It was just crying.
Oh my god.
And then some other like honorable mentions are Heartstopper. I love it.
I love Heartstopper.
I
It's so
love
good.
Heartstopper. I read Red, White, and Royal Blue there in 2023, and
Mm.
that was turned into a movie as well.
Did you watch the movie?
I did. I loved it.
Did it compare well to the book?
I think it did really, really well.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if the two leads had chemistry for me. They're both hot, for sure. but
I think they did. I don't know. I thought they were really good.
maybe it's just because that's like the characters they have, or the characters that they are.
I thought they did really good. I thought the British guy, did really good with his character compared to the book, anyways.
He did, yeah.
I think if you read the book, yeah, I think he did really, really well. With the movie, I like saw someone, and I was like, that's so funny because I thought the same thing when they're like dancing during the New Year's and it's playing, to the windows, to the walls. And like no one
Yeah.
points to the windows and to the walls, and I'm like,
Yes.
what is happening? And then someone I saw a TikTok video, someone saying like, why didn't they point to the window? And I'm just like, oh my god, I'm not alone.
Missed opportunity there.
I know.
Yeah, not us in middle school singing that
Right.
song
Right.
Right?
and then pointing to the window and to the wall.
Yes.
I think of Betty White and Sandra Bullock when I hear
Yes.
that song because of the
Yeah.
proposal.
Yes. I do too. Yeah. Yep. And then that is my list. My top reads. Probably some of my top authors that I read this year too was Dahlia Davies, who does the like Railed by the Krampus, Railed by the Reaper.
I feel like Railed by the Krampus gets an honorable mention, okay?
Yes. Yeah, I feel like I had to mention that.
Yeah, how can you not
Yes,
put
yes,
that
yes,
as number
yes.
one?
Can I talk about how at work today I like walked in on my two coworkers talking about a Shrek smut book and then coming across a Krampus one, and I'm just like, what is happening right here?
Your worlds are colliding,
I
Elaine.
know. I was like, this is so funny.
They should have gone with like some alliteration for Krampus because you have Railed by the Reaper. What can you do for Krampus? Like kinky with Krampus or something?
Oh, yeah. I think all the books that she writes are railed by.
Yeah, because it's getting railed by the Easter Bunny.
Oh my god.
I think the sequel to the Easter Bunny is Banging the Easter Bunny. And then yeah, it's like Railed by the Reaper, Railed by the Krampus.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
There's another one. Her newer one, I think, is Railed by the Tooth Fairy.
Oh.
Mm.
All right. So, yeah, my list isn't in any particular order either. I mean, I wrote them down in the order that I read them. Honorable mention is the Hunger Games series because I reread that
Wow.
in 2023. I listened to the audiobook this time around, but I haven't read it again since the initial read back in like right out of high school or whatever.
I've never read The Hunger Games.
Oh wow.
What?
Really?
Never.
I think I've read it like 3 times.
You fucking read Twilight, but you didn't read the Hunger Games?
Exactly. I also haven't seen the
What
movies.
the hell?
Of Hunger Games?
I haven't seen the movies
I haven't seen
either.
all of them.
I've seen bits and pieces of the first one, and it just looks like a bummer. So, if we ever talk about it, I'm gonna have a lot of homework to do.
Did you read Divergent?
Nope.
Twilight. You read Twilight, but none of these other ones. Well, the ending to Divergent, but the rest of it was pretty good.
I've seen the first movie, but wait, how many books are in the series? 3?
Which one?
Hunger Games?
Hunger
Yeah.
Games.
Hunger Games? Yeah, there's 3.
Did you read a Ballad of whatever?
Unfortunately,
No.
And was it bad?
I didn't like it.
Oh.
So it's President Snow's
Yeah.
backstory, which, well, how dare you try to fucking even attempt to make me sympathize with that monster?
Yeah. That's why I refused to read it.
Which, I mean, like, I read it and I'm like, I still didn't the whole time. I was just like, you're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. I can't stand you. Like, and I don't know if that's because, like, I knew what he becomes or whatever. He's just, I don't know. I didn't like it. Did not like it. So, yeah, when I say The Hunger Games, we're not going to add that one.
Yeah.
That was and I'm so sorry for anybody that liked it. I love that for you. But that was like the first book I think I've ever given like 2 stars to.
That is such like a shady ass compliment. I love that for you.
No, I mean, I'm serious. If you enjoyed that, like, that's fucking great for you.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it.
It sounded like, bless your heart.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way.
No, I know. It's just, I love that journey for you.
Okay, so I also put on here Memoirs of an Imaginary Friend by Matthew Dix. It is not a book I would typically read, but it was recommended to me for my 12 challenge that I did in 2023, and I freaking loved it. It made me cry like a little baby. It's all told from the point of view of an imaginary friend of this autistic kid. It is wild though, but it was really, really sweet, really good, very interesting. The other one I have, or next one I have, is The Endless War by Daniel L. Jensen, which is the 4th book in the Bridge Kingdom series.
Is that a good series?
It is fucking amazing. I recommend it. I recommend it big time. So like the first 2 books are 2 specific characters, and then books 3 and 4 are another 2 characters. Parts of book 2 and 3 overlap, so you get like different points of view of certain things that happen. I've never seen this done before with books, and I'm sure there's other books that have it, but like if you take the dust jackets off, the cover of the hardcover copies all connect and make a map of the world that it takes place in.
That's cool.
It's so freaking cool.
I like that.
But yeah, highly recommend that one. It's a good fantasy romance. Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. That one is like a weird British urban fantasy. I wish it had a sequel so badly, but it doesn't. I mean, it has an ending, which is fine, but it definitely is left open for more. And I want more. But he wrote it like, I think in the 90s. So next is Iron Widow. I'm probably going to say her name wrong, but I did look up the pronunciation by Shang J Shao. Zhao. It's a YA, but it is very like feminist, women empowerment.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It's so fucking good. Honestly, I think you'd probably enjoy it. I remember reading it and I was just like, fuck yeah. Like, you take back power in like your body and your situation and you be a badass, okay?
It was also like, I've also heard it described by the author of like taking like creatures in her culture,
yes,
making them like transformers, basically.
it is you know Pacific Rim,
Yeah, like
the
Pacific
movie
Rim.
where like there's the people that are in like giant robots that are like fighting
Yeah.
these aliens.
Yeah.
It is like that, but the robots that they have are like these they're designed after ancient mythical Chinese creatures.
Yeah.
There are robots?
Yeah, and they're fighting these aliens.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, this just got more interesting.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's based off the story of, I think, China's first and only woman empress, with a very big like sci-fi twist, sci-fi fantasy twist. It's really good.
Ugh, I'll add another book to my TB Red.
I know.
No.
I don't typically read YA, but this one was really good. My next 2 are nonfiction. So I read Fuzz by Mary Roach, and it is it's all about animals and nature committing crimes and how different places around the world like handle those situations. The bears in Colorado, you know, walking the streets or breaking into people's homes. Elephants and tigers in India, and monkeys, and then trees in Canada that have fallen and killed some people. mountain lions in California. There's some stuff about like birds and whatnot, like seagulls. Seagulls are fucking terrifying to me now.
Oh yes,
Oh,
they're
wow.
horrible.
But yeah, so it was really fascinating to read. Next one was American Kingpin by Nick Bilton, which is about a man here in Austin who created a worldwide drug selling business on the dark web, and it is fucking wild.
How entrepreneurial of him.
Yeah, seriously, like he was super freaking smart too.
Is he in prison
People
now?
died. Oh yeah. He's in prison.
Oh.
He is in prison. But yeah, I mean, he went to Westlake High School.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. It was absolutely insane. I listened to a podcast about it afterwards to get even more information. But
Send me that podcast. I will listen to that.
it was my favorite Australian true crime podcaster, Case File.
I listen to them.
Oh, you listen to Case File?
Yeah.
I fucking love him. Yeah, he did one on this guy. Yeah, so there was those, and then Dragon Mage, which is the first in a series by M.L. Spencer. The second book isn't out yet. That one was a really cool, like high fantasy dragons. Really good. Kind of gave me like Aragon vibes with like the dragon riders and stuff. Chosen Ones. Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan, one of my all-time favorite authors. This was a reread or re-listen. It's the first in one of his Rhaenyra series, and if you have the chance to listen to it on Audible, I highly recommend it because Tim Gerard Reynolds is one of my favorite narrators, and he does all of Michael J. Sullivan's books, and I've read almost every book in Michael J. Sullivan's series 2 or 3 times. Ooh, the Deadlights Cove series, particularly Wing and a Miss was my favorite, but I read the whole series 2023. By B. Perkins and Amy Vance. They're indie authors. So it's a paranormal kind of mystery romance series. And like the mystery continues throughout all the books. So like it doesn't get solved in the first book. There's 5 with 2 novellas. So that was fun. But Wing and a Miss in particular, the 2 main characters are a witch and a dragon shifter. Next, I have Lightbringer by Pierce Brown, which is book 6 in his Red Rising series, which as a whole is fantastic. I can't really talk about much of what it's about without giving things away from the series.
Yeah.
But, I mean, read Red Rising. It's freaking fantastic. Sci-fi, war, spaceship, battle, travel, planets, kind of dystopian society. I feel like Pierce Brown does a really good job of explaining everything and moving the story along that makes it more accessible to all readers. Like I listen to it or I read it and I don't feel like I'm lost in what's happening in the world or how things work and whatnot. I'll give a general thing about Red Rising, which is the first book. There's like a hierarchy system of the people in this society, and Darrow, the main character, is part of the like bottom. They're the Reds. On Mars, he's a miner, so he's down below the surface mining, trying to him and his people think that they're working to get the surface of Mars ready to be inhabited by people. A series of events happens which ends up getting him to the surface of Mars, and he finds out like him and his people have all been lied to. And people have been living on Mars for years, but they're being lied to, so they'll keep working without, complaint. And so he is brought to the surface. They train him and they tutor him to make him be able to pass like their entrance exam into the school so he can get into like a higher up position within the gold part of society so he can start helping like overthrow. It's so good. Next up was the Scholomance series by Naomi Novik. So it's a Deadly Education, The Last Graduate, and The Golden Enclaves. They go to a magical school, and basically the school's so old and whatnot, and things aren't working the way they're supposed to. So like the school is constantly doing shit that like borderlines almost kills the students. and whatnot. So they got to try to like do their classes and also not like get eaten by these different monsters and shit that show up. But that's all I'll say about that one. That one's really good. It was very interesting. The Rook by Daniel O'Malley is
Okay.
kind of like an urban fantasy. It's like secret society of
They did Stars did a series on that.
yes, there's a show.
Yeah.
It was really good. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did when I read it. That was another one of my friends had recommended for my 12 challenge. But yeah, like there's a secret society in the UK. There's also one in America. So like the Americans come over to help with this problem that's happening in the book or whatever. But like the people have like there's different levels of people in this like government organization, but like some of them have powers, kind of like X-Men ish. Christmas in Coconut Creek by Carissa Kinward. That one is part of the Dirty Delta series. This woman goes to visit her friend in Florida for Christmas and then ends up having like a kind of like a friends with benefits
A
situation.
love affair. She takes a lover.
Yes, she has a love affair with her best friend's boyfriend's roommate. But how they meet is funny. She's in the airport in Colorado heading to Florida and she's like on a dating app and she swipes whatever on this one guy. Then gets on the plane and she's sitting on the plane and she noticed that he swiped back on her. So she's sitting on the plane, you know, waiting for it to take off and she's looking at it and she like is zooming in on his picture, like on his crotch. And then a guy standing in the aisle says something about like it being better in person and she like looks up and it's the guy.
Oh wow.
So they have to sit next to each other the whole plane ride from Colorado to Florida.
Of course they do.
Oh my gosh.
When they get off the plane or whatever and her friend comes and picks her up, she opens up the app and he like deleted it. So she can't even contact him now if she wanted to, even though they're going to be in the same area. They end up going out that night and she's like going to meet her friend's boyfriend for the first time. So they meet up with the boyfriend and of course he brought his roommate and it's him from the plane.
Yeah.
She's like, you got to be fucking kidding me. So it's like, it's really funny, like, I don't know, meet cute kind of friends with benefits, just a vacation romance.
I would strike up so much conversation if that happened to me in real life.
Oh yeah, no, they talk like the whole plane ride,
Yeah.
just about from Colorado to Florida. Like good, it has good banter and it's good. It's really good. It's cute. It's very funny too and spicy. Carissa Kinward can write some good spice. Lady Hardcastle Mysteries by T.E. Kinsey. They take place like old-timey UK. Particularly, I read this year, which was book 8 and 9, which is Rotten to the Core in an Act of Foul Play. But it's about like this older lady and her lady's maid who used to work undercover for the British government. And they're like retired now, but they keep getting brought into these different mysteries in like their little bitty village and the surrounding towns. And they help out like the Inspector Sutherland is the main police guy. And they get recruited basically like every book to help solve like a mystery or murder or whatever. It's just really cute, cozy British mystery series. And then yeah, The 7-Year Slip and The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. They're both so good. I'm so happy that she's writing adult stuff now and not just YA book. They're so cute. The Dead Romantics made me cry. The only thing I know we said earlier, like there's really no way to describe it, but like basically she's a ghostwriter for this really famous author. Something tragic happens in her family and she has to go back home. And then that's when you find out she can see ghosts.
Yeah.
And so can her dad. And like she can communicate with ghosts. Her boss shows up and then she realized he's there as a ghost. And she's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And so she's dealing with all this stuff back home. And then she's got his ghost that's like following her around and like talking with her. And like they're getting to know each other. And like obviously like she's starting to fall in love with the fucking ghost. And then that's all I'll say. But it's really good. It made me cry. Call of the Norns series by Amy Vance, who also, she's the one that co-wrote the Deadlights Cove series. It's just a trilogy. The third book comes out this year. but I really enjoyed those. The main characters like ends up redoing her whole life after she goes on a trip
Mhm.
to Sweden and falls in love and time travels. There's dragons, magic,
We should all reinvent our lives at 30.
right? That's why I was like, I love this book. Like she feels so lost and like doesn't know what she's doing with her life at 30 something. And I'm like, we all need that
Yeah.
reminder that you don't have to have everything figured out.
Mm-hmm.
But last but not least, Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. Probably one of my top freaking books.
What? I had no idea.
It's like if you didn't think I was gonna mention that, like, where have you been? You must be new here.
Uh,
I talk about it all the damn time. I've listened to it 4 or 5 times now on Audible. I have 3 copies, 2 paperbacks, one's a hardcover. I signed up for book of the month just so I could get the hardcover copy of this freaking book, okay? I have a problem.
That's devotion.
It's so good. And then oh gosh, the bonus chapter, Skullduggery. Oh, like when you think you can't love Rowan Kane anymore, that man just oh, I love him. I love Sloane too, but I love Rowan so much. So much. They're both a little crazy because they're serial killers, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
That was the end of that. This is also going to be a really long freaking episode.
Thank you, listener, if you've stuck around this long.
Right? Like if you listen to this far, we appreciate you big time.
Yeah.
We're very tired.
I don't even know. I don't even know what I can edit out. I know it's almost midnight.
Yeah.
We keep doing this to ourselves. We
I
record
know.
late.
Well, I mean, your bedtime's like 8 p.m.
And my bedtime is 7:30, 8 p.m. Yes, it's way past my bedtime.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to be up for 2 more hours after this.
Jesus, fuck, really?
No, I'm going to bed.
I showered before we recorded, so like I've already washed my face and like did my nighttime stuff. I'm gonna put my hair up and then go pass out, probably. Even though I really, really want to read. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I know.
Okay, so our what this week? This week I am going to be reading or listening to House of Flame and Shadow, the big anticipated release of the
Oh,
year, or one of the
yeah.
big anticipated release of the year, because it'll come out the day that this posts.
Yeah. I'm going to let you read that first so that when I read it like 2 months after you, I can ask you so I can jump ahead to certain parts.
And then I'll just do what I'm watching. So my husband and I have been watching a lot of Magic the Gathering YouTube.
Yes.
So basically, we're watching people play Magic the Gathering.
No, is it Dimension 20?
We've been watching the two. There's a lot that pop up like in between ones, but the main 2 channels we've been watching is Command Zone and then
Okay.
Talarian. It's called Talarian Community College. The guy that I guess Talarian is like a magic school in Magic the Gathering. I don't know all the lore. There's a whole bunch of lore. But yeah, so there's a guy, I think he's a retired like English professor or something. And so he does this Magic the Gathering channel and he calls himself the professor and whatnot. It's funny. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. I'm such a big nerd. All right, who wants to go next?
I'm not really watching anything right now. Nothing new, at least. Reading, I think it's going to have to be put on hold because I started grad school this semester and that's kind
Ooh.
of taking up my time, which is really going to
Yeah.
interfere
Yeah.
with my 52 book goal. So maybe I'll just change it to like 10. Listening, I found a new spooky podcast. It's called
Okay.
Horrific History and Hauntings.
Okay.
So I'm listening to that right now. And maybe I'm thinking of a different one. So one of the podcasts I listened to just did a haunted thing about Austin. And so I have to find that and see what happens. But yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, Elaine.
Okay, so I'm just gonna do what I'm reading because I'm not really watching or listening anything. but I'll probably be reading Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon. It's the public library's book club book, so I'll probably be starting that one. I read one of the author's other books last year, and I really, really liked that one, so I'm excited to read this other one.
Alrighty.
Great job, everyone.
Right?
Yeah.
Thanks for sticking. Oh, I can't even speak anymore. Jesus. Okay. Thank you, listener, for joining us. Please rate and review our podcast and follow us on the socials listed in the description. Email us topics, questions, book recommendations, something nice. Have a lovely day and week. And until next time.
Bye.
Elaine, your bye was so quiet.
Bye.
There we go. Okay, where'd my mouse go? There it is.